Boopity boop, boopity boom.
Is that from the Kanye song?
It's actually a little bit of Betty Boop
Right.
mixed with whatever was in my brain. Boopity poop doop doop. All that, yeah.
Are we on?
We are on.
Oh, we on.
Talking about poop. Okay.
Poopty poop.
Mr. Worldwide. We on a world tour with
Welcome back to Global Brothers Podcast. This is a very interesting time because it's our first double feature.
Double feature, Act 2.
Our first double feature. We're still here at Ross Beach Vibes, Act number 2, and we have the lovely Makeba in the building. She goes by one name because one name is all that's needed for such a talented queen.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that intro.
Number one, what a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you kind of tell us?
Yeah, let's talk about the name because it's been a thing my whole life. But okay, so my name is Mekeba, the proper pronunciation. I was named after Mary Makeba, who's like an activist and a South African singer. Look her up because she's powerful, legendary, right?
Yeah.
But my parents are Jamaican, so it's Makeba is how they pronounce it. So my nickname is Keeb. And so people sometimes like, Makeba to Keeb, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, yeah, it's because my parents, Jamaican people pronounce things how they want to.
Yeah.
Essentially.
This is true.
This is true.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So yeah, so it's Makeba and Makeba. Like those are the two.
Yeah.
I grew up with a Makeba.
Yeah.
And I bet any money it's probably the same
It's
similar.
the same kind of situation probably, yeah. She's probably named after Makeba. Mary Makeba.
She was gorgeous too, Makeba. Shout out to Makeba
Makeba's in the building. You know
What
what's
are you
his
doing
name?
right now, Makeba?
When what's
Chill,
his
that's
name had
Makeba from back
home. Talib Kweli. He had Black for Black Girls, and he's like, "This is for Makeba." I said, "Oh my god, oh my god!"
You got a shout out.
It was my first time in my life.
She got a black girl name. She live in black girl pain. This is for Makeba and for my mama Sita. It's really good, ma. I'll be your promise keeper.
Because growing up with a name like that, you don't get that. Like, never, ever. You go to the grocery store just hoping and waiting that someone is going to have your name on that little magnet or the little keychains or a little shot, like something. And it never happens.
Yeah, you just get M.
Nothing.
You get M. That's it.
M. And when I was younger, I was in French immersion, and like my parents, like there was never, I was the only black kid in my class, and every time we have a new student, I'd be like, please let her name be Makeba, please let her name be Makeba, but she's like Asian, she's white, like it didn't click to me even that this Asian girl will never have your name, or she's gonna be another Sarah Q, Sarah A, Sarah D, like, but it's just funny how like.
Where did you grow up?
In Toronto, Canada.
In Toronto.
Yeah.
And in Toronto, you were the only black child in your class.
In my class, yeah. When I grew.
From birth
so from
to
I think when I first started school, I started school that way. Then when I got to like second grade, there was another black girl named Ashley, and we were best friends, right? Obviously. But yeah, that was my entry into school. Was like I'm the only black kid.
I'll bet any money you love your name now, and you're glad that it's unique.
Let me tell you, I love my name now, but I definitely didn't growing up. It was different. People called it a dog name. They said all the different things you could think of. No one could ever pronounce it. They could never spell it. Teachers, supply teachers, everything.
I'm sure they screwed that name up.
Huh?
I'm sure they messed your name up in spelling and everything. Right?
everything.
Wait a second, Canadians are mean?
Yes. I get it that we're polite.
Canadians were the most polite people.
We're polite compared to Americans. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
No, Canadians are nice. They are polite people, but they also hide their rudeness in other things. Like our racism isn't get out of here, you're a nigger. Like it's not like that. It's like you're just not the right fit.
Covert.
Right now, and you're like, huh? Like they really slide it in there. It's a really just on the low, but it's happening.
It's structural.
Yeah.
It's implemented in their systems.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course their thinking, their psyche.
Oh, 100%.
I have an uncle in Mississauga.
Mississauga. That's my hood.
Mississauga.
Yeah.
Really?
Mississauga. Yeah.
Yo, enough y'all people today, you know.
Come on, of course.
Man.
Are you Jamaican?
What do you mean?
I did not know this. Aw, so excited.
Yo, shout out Uncle Eddie. Big G.
Wow.
Yeah. We drove from Long Island to Mississauga.
Yeah. New York was a drive. Like that's the thing. You do that.
Yeah. Like rich kids, we hated it.
What's that drive? What's the length?
9. I think New York is 9. It's about 9.
As a child, it felt like
Forever.
2 days. I don't know how
As a
long
kid,
it
9
was.
hours feels like
Yeah,
eternity.
because I'm from Pittsburgh and we're only 4 hours, so a lot of us drive to Toronto all the
Yeah.
time.
It felt like
Yeah.
forever.
Right.
That's why I hate Drake.
Come on, come on.
He's a Drake hater, and I used to be.
Right. There's
I
no
used to be.
reason for it.
I've submitted. Drake is the man.
Who is Canadian?
Drake?
Really?
Yes.
The Rock.
Party Next Door.
The Rock is Canadian. Nova
There's
Scotia.
Celine Dion, Tamia. There's people who are Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Steve Nash.
What's his name?
Nash.
Rachel McAdams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so is what's the other guy from The Notebook again?
The Notebook. What's
The
that?
Notebook. You don't know The Notebook, the movie?
I got an iPhone.
What does that mean?
He's joking. He's joking. Chantel Riley's from.
There you go, my buddy.
Chantel
my bestie.
Riley.
She's Canadian. There's
Shout
a
out
ton
to Chantel.
There you go. There's a ton of Canadians.
Bro, dog.
But
Day one, homie Chantel.
my day one for real. That's my best friend.
This is super cute because it actually is.
Yeah, no, it actually is.
Right.
It's exactly my friend.
So the question is, when you go back to Jamaica,
Yeah.
okay, when you visit, how does that make you feel visiting?
Number one, like the second I get off the plane,
Yeah.
the smell in the air, woo, you just are like, oh, like it's relief. I don't
We've
even
heard
know.
this before.
Oh, really?
Shout out to Lane Redmond. Did we hear this before? How do you feel when you go to, when you went to Barbados? How did you?
It's an amazing feeling, man. It's just. I think automatically it's the smell. I don't know, man. It's just you just smell. I don't know. Just it's that familiar smell.
Yeah. Wow.
That struck me right away when you said that. I get the same thing with Jamaica. There's a scent in the air, and the other day I went to Zanzibar and had the same smell.
Oh, really?
It's the smell. You can't even you miss Jamaica, you miss the smell. Like there's a vibe like instantly, and I'm really sensitive to like energies and like spaces and like that country. It's like, it's special, man. I don't care if I'm biased or not, it's special. It really is.
Does it bring back memories?
I mean, for me,
vibe?
it's a 100% vibe, but like I wasn't born there. I was born in Canada. So even for me to feel those things,
Still feel it.
it's like you can't, like genetics, whatever things running through you, like you can't even
It's your
run
ancestors.
from that. Yeah. And so it's like that, there's memories in the sense of like familiarity and understanding where and how and why, and like, oh, y'all are just not the same, but the same. You know what I mean? Like my experience growing up with my parents is so parallel to so many other people.
Right. We recently had this discussion, and once again, shout out to Lane Redmond. You went to Tanzania, Kenya, Zanzibar, and had the same feeling about Jamaica.
What's funny about that?
It's not unique to just place that you have been told things about.
Right.
You can also be somewhere for the first time again.
So I 125% agree with that, because that's how I felt in West Africa. So I went to Zanzibar, Tanzania. I was there for like 6 weeks. I went to Joburg, and I loved it. I was like, this is amazing. This is great. It was cool. 6 weeks I was there. But I did get this feeling of otherness happening that I wasn't expecting. Because I'm like, I'm going home. I'm going to Africa for the first time.
Right.
Like, yes.
Excited.
And then I got there, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of the other here. I'm experiencing this otherness. And I think I found myself comparing it to Jamaica a lot. And there was a lot of things that weren't similar, or a lot of things that I was expecting to be a bit more similar. Obviously there were similarities, right? But it was really a feeling of not fully kind of connecting, but feeling apart, but not the same. So then now when I went to West Africa, oh my gosh.
It hit you.
Goosebumps, tears. Like Ghana, Nigeria, we did both of them, like a week in both, and it was just like that whole trip changed the trajectory of my entire life since then. Like it's not like in every aspect, and like I think people are asking me like, oh, do DNA test, see where you're from, right? Yeah. I'm kind of funny with that because I'm like a conspiracy theorist, so at the end of the day I'm like, I don't need to give them any more of my DNA than they already have. So
keep going.
And at the end of the day, You're just gonna tell me I'm from somewhere that was a part of the slave trade. I will never know what tribe I'm from. So you're gonna tell me I'm from Nigeria. Or you're gonna tell me I'm from Ghana. You're gonna tell me I'm from Congo. But when I get there, then what? I don't know if I'm Yoruba. I don't know if I'm Igbo. I don't know if I'm Benin. I don't know. So it's like, why don't I just go with what's resonating with me? So it's like like I said, I was in South Africa. I was in Tanzania. I was in there for 6 weeks. I never felt what I felt like I felt when I was in Nigeria and when I was in Ghana. That was a different level. Like I was like, whoa, what is this? And so for me, it's like, I think it's important to know where you come from. But at this stage, when we're a part of the diaspora, like the African diaspora and the slave trade and stuff, like we kind of almost have to just like try to reconnect, but also keep it moving. Like, and not get stuck on this, like, we don't know where we come from, like specifics, and like trying to sometimes figure that out. Because even like for Chantal, she did the test and it was like, you're 26% Nigerian. And then months later it changed to Congolese. So it's like, what are they doing with this information? It's being updated, right? It's in the system. So I think for a lot of people it's cool and you can see this thing, but when it changes, so you go from being Nigerian to Congolese, those cultures are very different.
Yeah.
Right? Like where do you...
It's trendy to say that, oh, yeah, I've done ancestry.
That's it. And I know where I'm from, but you're like, what then? Because you're still left not knowing what tribe. You're still left not knowing. Like, it's... So for me, it's like, do what resonates with you, right? I still think your history is important. Understand where you come from and start to build new traditions and evolutions of how you're gonna live and practice things, right?
I'm gonna send you a clip because I keep shouting out. We've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
You're verbatim saying some of the things that you've said and some of our recent guests have said. It's amazing. And the clip that I'm going to send you is, if you remember, I said, now what? After Ancestry.
Oh, you said the same thing?
I said that. I'm going to send it to you.
Because I feel like every time I say this, people are like, 100%. What do you mean?
I said, now what?
I just finished, like I'm premiering
Everything you just said.
You guys have said, basically. That's
I'm blown
so
away. If I find out that I'm from Nigeria or Ghana or Ivory Coast, Liberia, you just said it. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Isn't it?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna go back there like, yo, I'm home. And then be like,
now what? I mean, I still have to navigate.
Yeah.
I still have to get a passport over there. I still have to learn my... Come on, man. You know what I mean? Let's just...
You gotta learn the language, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
You ready for that?
Exactly. Hey, or give me a swab of your DNA.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. That's even crazier.
What are you doing with that?
The ramifications of what exactly?
What are you doing with that?
Into a database.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. Oh, your DNA shows you were there.
Well, here's it. No, let me go further. How are we gonna make the next Ebola and wipe these niggas out?
Oh.
We got the swab. We got their DNA to know which strand to use, so they can.
So I did this short about this experience, like about me going to Africa and the way that I felt empowered. Like I believe like in creating a call to action. Everyone needs to go there. Everyone of the African diaspora needs to go home. We need to touch that soil. We need to feel the experiences there.
You'll be in Ghana this December?
Yeah.
I'm walking off set.
This is what you guys are talking about? So this is what my short is about. It premieres like next month at this a festival called Buffer Festival. But
you're sure you directed it.
Yeah, like I created this like project. So it grabs with like kind of what we're talking about right now. Yeah, director, my first short film at Buffer Festival, October 5th. So,
wow.
And that's in Toronto.
Activist, clearly.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm definitely for Pan-African 100%. 100%. I'm definitely a Garveyite. Like,
Wow.
So.
I want to get back to your short, but first, I just feel the need to do this now or else it'll be a bit out of place. Although it probably won't, because the whole interview will be about this. When I got back from Kenya the first time, I got that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Great,
dope.
man,
That's really
because,
clean, too.
I'm like...
You just felt this, like, togetherness.
Exactly what you just said. It's not about, oh, well, what tribe and what this and what that. Who are you to tell me anything anyway? And at this point, what does it matter anymore?
It's hard to... You're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck.
Right, when you listen to what Bob Marley said in the first place, tribal war. If we always think of this tribalist kind of thing, that's what we're always going to be.
Yeah.
But for people like us that know better and that don't have that baggage of tribalism, why do we want to get into that?
Right.
We should be showing our brothers and sisters that, look, we've come back for all of you. And we got one love for all of you.
And I definitely think that's important. But I also think what really I think blew my mind too in West Africa, especially like Nigerians, is their limitless mentality. Right, and I think some of that comes from knowing where you're from. They don't think about it. You know, like for generations, you kind of have this history, this language, this everything, and like everyone is basically believes that they can do whatever they want. So it's like they go for the money that way. They approach life that way. They'll tell you they can do it, and man, they can. And maybe it doesn't get done, but they don't. Like there's this idea. Whereas us, I find the trauma from slavery has really put this layer on the way we think.
Ceiling.
It's a ceiling, right? And it's like we're successful, but in comparison to the white man, we're doing this because we overcame it. Like everything has this comparative thing. Like where you go to Atlanta, where you're like, "Ooh, black excellence and success." Yeah, I've seen that, but it didn't hit me the way that Nigerian success did. I was learning about people that are like rich, like real rich. Not the kind of rich where like, "Oh yeah, you got a house in the car." Like, nah, money's long. Like I never heard of these people in my life, right? And it's like. It's so empowering to be like, oh, you guys, maybe we're not from the same tribe because it goes back to the togetherness, but like you look like me. And it's like you guys don't have that same limitations, even though the reason for my limitations is because of the way I look. You know what I mean? It's like you look like me, you're limitless, you're killing it, but the whole reason for a lot of my oppression is just because of the way that I look.
You know, it's interesting you say that because I was thinking as you were talking how much sense it makes when we say our wealth is our health and our wealth is our state of mind. When she talked about that ceiling and us thinking that our success is based on European imperialism or Eurocentric values, the word bougie is basically how close we are to white.
Yes, 100%.
You know, I told my wife one time, I said, you realize that bougie, when we say bougie is like a latte or
eating
hummus
kale
or eating kale or asparagus, it's not bougie.
No.
It's just what they're doing.
No, 100%.
It's just eating healthy. But we call it, oh, you're bougie because you're eating this or you're eating this way. Maybe you're eating clean or you're eating, a plant-based diet. It's not.
And that's why it's like, it's the trap mentality. It's the repercussions of slavery. It's the trauma.
I mean, of course you can add the Mercedes and the designer
but
European
we put it on
stuff,
everything, right? Like we put it on, if you are too articulate, you bougie.
You're bougie.
That's because Massa wanted to keep you a certain way, right?
So
once you start to step out of that, that's the slave mentality speaking. That's the moments of oppression. When you elevate in life, you changed. You did this. You becoming that. It's like we have been programmed to keep ourselves oppressed and keep each other that way. Because to me, colonizers, all this stuff, it's like, let's just do this to them and they'll do it for themselves right now. That's why with the xenophobia in South Africa, there's no white people burning in the streets. It's black people burning black people doing their work. They understand the psychology and it's been long lasting and generational. It's like, we don't realize it's generational. So we keep thinking like, stop making these excuses, stop talking about the white man keeping you down, stop whatever. I 100% believe in going against the oppression that has been created, but only way you can actually do that is to understand it first a little bit. You need to even understand it's there. You can't fix something if you don't even know you're traumatized from it.
You know you're blowing this guy away, right? Me too, though. Keep going, because these are conversations, they're uncomfortable for some people to have, because they're not even in that same hemisphere.
And I say it's survival mode, right? I look at my parents' generation. Their survival mode. It's now my generation's job to get out of survival mode. We need to focus on healing from trauma and so that we can actually make the real progress. Right? Because we can't work. That's why we don't work together. It's the trauma.
People tell me to chill. People tell me to chill, but I can't stop.
Don't. Why? If you think about anybody great, did they chill? Did Martin Luther King chill?
Not at all.
Did Einstein chill? People, when you want to do something great, there's a level of insanity that comes with it that most people will never understand. So it's like you can't really chill.
All right, we need to talk about your dance or your hair styling.
No, keep going.
Wow, man.
She's that.
Regulators! Hold up!
Regulators?
But no, there's a lot inside of you that I see as far as confidence, resiliency. But you have to have a certain heightened self-concept and knowledge of the world to be that. You know?
Which is why people need to travel.
Right.
100%. I think people need to travel. People need to travel. You need to travel. You need to travel. Now. Yesterday, like, I literally just posted this morning, actually. I was like, you know, what, like, majority of what the people have told you about the world is a lie. You need to get out of your house, get out of your city, get out of your neighborhood, like, get out of your country, because it's like, you will never know and understand that, like, what it is that we, especially black people, and that's why the book is so important.
In South Central, in New York, in Brooklyn,
is life, is the world.
I don't own this block. It's not my block. I can't protect it and hold it down. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just.
It's not my spot.
Yeah.
No. You know what I used to tell people from where I'm from? You know, with eminent domain, or they don't even need that. They'll clear out your whole hood and put a Walmart up.
Well, this is the thing. Oh, this brings a whole nother topic now. Gentrification,
Yes.
which I have. Okay, this is the thing. Gentrification is not bad, right? What's bad is that the colonizers, white people, unfortunately, as we say it, not all white people, I get it, you guys are all the same, but you know what I mean. They come back and buy our neighborhoods. We don't go back, right? If we're going back and buying the block, it's okay. We need to gentrificate our own. It's just cleaning up. But we need to clean up because we care, not. But we leave. Get the hell up out of here. I ain't going back to that neighborhood. And then what happens? It becomes. It's not like Inglewood. It's like Brentwood. You know. Let's make it this.
Let me tell you what somebody told me this summer. Shout out to Keith Reed, my moderator. My moderator for Going Global this summer in my hometown. We were talking about gentrification. We went to lunch after the book signing this summer. I think I might have told you this. And I'm pushing back on gentrification a little, even though I know that we can, quote unquote, or for lack of better words, gentrificate our own.
Yeah.
Right? Because all it means is improvements.
Yeah.
That's what the word means.
Like
right?
generally speaking, yeah.
Exactly. But he said, and he's in real estate. He's in real estate. He said, you know, Heath, how many drug dealers and how many college goers did you know growing up? I said a lot. He goes, how many renters did you know? I said, well, a lot. He goes, all these years of riding around with the shoes and the clothes he goes, nobody thought to buy this? Now people are coming in and buying it and we're mad?
Yeah, but.
And I was like, you're right.
No. You know why I don't think that's fair? Again, I think it's unfair to look at a group of people who've been specifically targeted, brainwashed to not think about buying. Also put in a place where home ownership and property, like, what is that? You're literally just trying to pay your rent. So it's like, these people have set these neighborhoods up for this.
He was talking about the people who could have. For instance,
the drug dealers?
No. You mentioned people that left.
Yeah, but they're in survival mode. That's what I'm saying. Those generations are trying to,
Yeah.
when they're seeing people getting shot on the corner, when they don't feel safe for their children to go to school, all they're thinking is,
not prime
I
property.
need to survive. This is not prime property.
It's not prime
It needs to be a bigger
True.
picture thing. Sometimes you need to leave, but my point is coming back. Like, you might need to get out, build those businesses somewhere else, invest, but you need to come back, right? Like, that's, I think, the biggest thing.
The funny thing is about leaving, where do people go?
White neighborhoods.
Yeah,
because we're told that white is right. If you
Where
think
do
about,
people go? What do they want to be? What do they want to live like? Who do they want to be around?
they want to be bougie, quote
Who do
unquote.
they want to be around?
Yeah,
Where do they feel safe?
White neighborhoods, apparently.
Where do we feel safe when we make it? We don't feel safe around our own anymore. When
Right.
we make it, we feel safe around.
Because you
others.
feel targeted and you're afraid because you are in a place that has been conditioned. It's literally a prison.
Yeah.
So when you get out of prison, of course you're like, let me get out.
Or like
and
a
let me-
reservation.
Like a reservation, but this
Yeah.
prison, man, that's like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
the only difference is they're
What I
not
say,
showing
brother?
you the
What I say,
bars. Like
brother?
they're just not showing you the bars.
What I
Like
say?
the outfits, everything. It's still a prison.
Even the outfits.
We were just talking about food stamps and like the fact that because in Canada we don't have food
Rationing,
stamps, right?
exactly.
The rationing, but like why you can only get certain types of food, right?
Yes.
That is murder.
What do they call that in jail?
Non-perishable items, right?
Commissary.
Commissary. And on your commissary, you can only get certain things on your commissary.
So even in that, because when it comes to like the health and stuff, I'm a big advocate on that, and I think that's also a big issue within our
healthy food in your commissary.
Well, this is my point. So even in poor communities, right, you're having people who don't have access to healthy food.
Right.
If they do, you think it's this expensive thing, whatever. When realistically, healthy food should be the cheapest. It's vegetables and fruits, and like we should understand that. So you're living on what
Processed
dinner, processed food.
Yeah,
Do you know what
garbage.
that does to your mind? You are not thinking about buying back the block.
No.
You're barely thinking about your schoolwork that day because your diet is shit. The sugar is poison.
That's true.
You're drinking Kool-Aid every day. Every day. I remember as a kid, like opening up the fridge. What do? Get a cup of juice. What is that doing to your mental
High
health?
fructose corn syrup.
On top of the fact that you're literally from the outside being fed all this crap.
And then even we're taught to love the Kool-Aid.
Love it.
Like,
Identify
it's for
with
us.
it. That's our culture.
Right, that's black people.
Oh, guess what? Eating shit food, that's our culture.
Yeah,
Like,
and the American dream is looking like you have money. Looking.
Okay,
Looking like you.
did you ever
That's
see
it.
that clip where it talks about
I got one more Kool-Aid. One more Kool-Aid comment. This comedian was like, yo, I like the Kool-Aid man, 'cause at least he says what he stands for. And not only is he a jug of Kool-Aid,
he's fat.
he carries a jug of Kool-Aid.
Wow, yeah.
Send me that clip. That's
He's like,
hilarious.
I'm Kool-Aid with Kool-Aid.
That's marketing.
I was like, I didn't know she had a jug of Kool-Aid in his hand. He
Yeah.
does have a jug of Kool-Aid in
And
his
my
hand.
name is Kool-Aid.
Man.
That's crazy.
No, it is. That's why I say I'm a conspiracy theorist, guys. I don't care what anybody wants to say.
No, but you're not a conspiracy theorist.
I just think I am, but what I think is what I think the issue is the connotation attached to that. A conspiracy just believe is that a few people were sitting in a room and made a plan and executed it. Is that not how the world operates?
Definitely not.
Is that not what history has shown us over and over? Was the slave trade an accident? No, it was a conspiracy. Countries conspired, worked together to create something, and that's what a conspiracy is. But people are taught to not think that. One, it makes you think different. When you believe that conspiracies are possible, you start to also look at the world a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It's harder to control people with that case.
They made it a negative connotation.
A negative thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would say that you're peeping game.
Keeping game.
You're peeping game, mean like you're. Okay, in Jamaica we say you're overstanding.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know, understanding thing, you're overstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh right, I get that.
Yeah.
We're playing chess, not checkers. Moves ahead. I wanna get somebody that you had mentioned about Black America.
Yeah.
But and how we're conditioned to say that white is right. And gentrification. That's where it was. Gentrification in America, in black neighborhoods. Look at what's going on about gentrification in Africa. What we call the rogue lion syndrome, which is the Asians buying up Africa.
Well, that's the Caribbean too.
And
That's
then-
everywhere.
And
really.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then pretty much we sit back and complain about it, saying, "Oh, look what China's doing." What are you doing?
That's why again, everyone
What are
needs
you
to go
doing?
back to these spaces and invest. Like,
If you have the ability and the knowledge to do something, do something.
but that's the problem. Not enough people do. And I think ability and knowledge doesn't just mean you have a degree. Ability and knowledge is a level of self-awareness too, right? And understand and patience. I say patience number one because when I talk about the fact that I'm like, yo, like I'm tired in North America. Like, and I'm tired because like white people are draining me. They are draining me, and it's like when you talk about going to Africa or you talk about Jamaica, everyone who's like either that generation of there or maybe like second generation or whatever, they were like, yeah man, but Jamaica hard man, and then bad man, and you can't trust nobody, and you can't build this, and you can't do that. Or they talk about Africa, it's like, oh, Nigel will kill you, like you did drink, like everybody has so much to complain about. But my thing is, where do you want to choose?
I'm blown away.
No, I'm saying pick your battles. And I'm at a point in my life where it's like I don't really want to waste my energy with white people and dealing with their ignorance anymore. Why don't I just go and deal with the annoying things in Jamaica, in Africa, because there's a bigger picture. So my energy now, yes, I might be tired at the end of the day, but my God, it was to build and see my people actually get to another level where it's like, we're fighting to get a billboard. When I'm in North America and I see sis on a billboard, I'm like, okay, girl, yeah, progress. You go to Africa, that's all it is, right? Ghana was like, and I'm like, oh my God, this isn't trying, this is the norm, but there are communities that don't have running water.
I think we spent too much time trying to convince white people
To take us in, it's like
of our plight, of our experience,
our value.
Yeah, our value, and trying to get a seat at their table.
Always.
What type of sense does that make?
None.
Because the ones that get to that table had to give up something, and they're double standards and they're overly scrutinized at their table.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like being in the belly of the slave ship.
Yeah.
What do you, okay. Toronto, Pittsburgh, what do you guys think about buying back our neighborhoods and what North American black people are talking about? Buying back stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't ever yours in the first place. What are you buying
I
back?
think I totally understand that. I think this is where I'm kind of like an in-between. So when I was in Ghana, we were having this conversation. Everyone's like, a lot of people in Ghana are very much like, come home, right? Not just the government, like the actual people believe that. And we had this conversation where, you know, we look up to Martin Luther King, we look up to these leaders, and he says, what at that time, the impact that he had, why didn't he tell people to come home? He came to Ghana, he met with the presidents, he's been there. Why didn't he tell everyone to come home at that time, years ago? I think the issue is, one, it goes back to the trauma, right? When you have a community of people who are in that state, who have been beaten down, they can't even identify with being African. So they're going home to what exactly? They don't, like, there's not really something set up for them.
Yeah.
And again, survival mode, don't know how you're paying your rent, don't know how you're paying your mortgage. These communities now kind of have become ours in a way. So I think it's really hard to just say, as much as I want everyone to like just dip, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So why not, with the stuff that is ours, right? Try to improve those things, but also still go back to spaces like Africa and build, or the Caribbean and build, so that people can also have these lines that are happening. You know what I mean? Because Asians have Asian communities in America, right? They do, and they have them all over the world. So why should we?
Vibrant communities.
Vibrant communities, and that's where their power also lies, right? Like they're in like Vancouver, they're in Toronto, they're all over in all these different cities in strong communities and strong pockets. So I think.
Do you know why we can't do that?
Yet.
Asians as a people they're quiet, they're docile, they'll toe the line, stay in your books, do this, they just stand. We are us. We're here.
Yeah, but the issue
We're here. You're gonna know it right now.
Isn't that we're loud?
And they don't want that.
The issue isn't that we're loud, right? At the end of the day, like, I mean, I know we were brought here and they thought we were gonna just dead off and not even be here. So now they have all these ghettos and communities and things to deal with. But I don't think the issue is that we're loud. The issue is that we are not healing, and we're not identifying that we have a shit ton of things to deal with. When you go to war and you suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome, there are programs in place. Where is the I Am Black post-traumatic stress syndrome programs to say we're pretending like slavery didn't have huge implications on the way we think and the way we interact? Because throughout slavery, it was about us not working together. If we worked together, they wouldn't have had a chance.
Right.
Take the language, take the everything. If you read, if you communicate, if you whatever, and like within the Caribbean, it's also different culturally how much more connected we are to Africa because they didn't take the drum, they didn't take that part. Like, you know what I mean? So even that is a form of communication. Whereas in America, that stuff was taken away. And so you look at the way Americans feel about Africa and the Caribbean people feel about Africa. Yeah. My dad gave me an African name on purpose. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, even in that, like, you see how every time we're pitted against each other. Every time. That's why we can't work together. It has nothing to do with the fact that we're boasty and loud and fun and all that other stuff. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we have 10-year-olds creating GPS systems on the bottom of their kids' shoes. Right? Like, we're intelligent, we're creative, we're amazing. And like, the issue is just that we don't understand how to heal. And healing is not cool in our community. Therapy's not cool. Talking about your feelings isn't cool. We are, you know.
I love to think about Brazil. They have this city in Brazil. It actually used to be the capital of Brazil back in the day. And they said this is the place in Brazil with the most black people in the whole country, and they practice the same traditions and drumming and celebrations as they did in Africa.
Also the martial arts too. Capoeira.
Yeah. And they interviewed one of the most famous singers there, and she was breaking it down, and she said, a lot of our stuff is African, but we have a spin on it that's uniquely different because we're so far removed. But we know that everything comes from Africa.
This is the origin,
In Haiti too.
Now,
the same.
right. that's also very close. But in America, for that particular reason, I guess maybe because Jim Crow laws or what have you, there must be something between slavery and that has super disconnected with women wanting to identify with that.
Yeah, the residues.
Well,
The residue is deeper. There's subsequent years, over 150 years of, like you say, Jim Crow, but just subjugation, marginalized, disenfranchisement that is systematic and structural.
But if you think about it, if you came, right, off a slave ship, you're not allowed to speak your language anymore, and every time you spoke your language, you were beaten. Do you think you'd want to say you are that thing?
No, the same thing that happened
Right?
in Brazil.
Yeah, but I'm
They
saying.
were told Portuguese day one.
Yeah, yes, but the slave trade, I'm not saying that the things weren't as brutal or things weren't as intense in those spaces, but if you were going to give an example of even allowing people to keep a drum, or allowing certain, you know what I'm saying? There's things that
chattel slavery was
there's something,
another
you know what I'm saying? So it's like the identification with that in America specifically, even climate. Let's go back to that. The climate in North America is not like Africa, whereas Brazil, the Caribbean, there's something about that land space. There's something that's similar, right? Like you're able to even
I've
grow.
never heard the climate argument.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, there's something that's different, right? When I'm in LA versus when I'm in New York, there's something about being in LA that's a little bit more like, this feels. When I'm in Florida, I'm like, ooh, something feels right here. Like New York, the East Coast, and if you look at it, the slave trade in North America wasn't at like California. It's like pretty much, it was almost non-existent, right? They didn't have the same laws, which I also learned that.
Well, it
more
was
recently.
Mexico back then. That's why.
Or the natives, right? And even then, it wasn't. They weren't really allowed to have slaves. They had to hire. They had to adopt them. So they would adopt a little black girl, adopt a little native person, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? To say like, these are my children, and as helpers.
You've read Howard Zinn, huh? A People's
No.
History?
No, I didn't read that one.
Okay, I'll put you on that after.
Yeah, put me on it.
Which you're actually saying the book though.
No, oh, really?
Okay, yeah. You're very knowledgeable about what happened. Yeah.
But then you look at the communities there, right? It's not the same. You don't have the same population of black people. You don't have
Right.
this, like, it's just different.
Yeah. Let me segue. Knowing all what you know globally, as a global traveler, as an influencer, empowering women, but knowing all of what you know, how do you enjoy life?
How do I enjoy life?
Yeah.
Well, I always say that being a carefree black woman is a statement in itself, right? Because it's like all the oppression that you have as a woman, being black, all these different things. It's like, am I going to just curl up and die in a ball? Am I going to just not live? Am I not going to just enter rooms despite the fact that people are going to stare at me or think different things? I have to just live. I have to live, and I have to live with confidence and own that, right? So it's like, that's really how I enjoy my life, is to say like, I've been put here for a reason. All this other stuff, it's happening, but I still have more power than it.
Yeah.
And I know that when I changed the way that I saw myself, the world saw me differently.
Yeah.
Right? Like growing up, you always hear guys like, oh, I don't talk to dark-skinned girls, and I don't blah, 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 and I wasn't this and that, all that kind of stuff. But it was like the second I was like, nah, girl, you bomb. You bomb. It was like other people start seeing you that way. And you start to like attract just a different type of thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm still, you still deal with white people and their ignorance and like all kinds of stuff happening, but it really, you walk differently. When you kind of just decide for yourself that like, this is what I am, I'm gonna own this, I'm gonna keep feeding myself in that. Because I think it's like bathing. You gotta do it every day. You gotta keep building yourself up, right?
Fortunately for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere along the line, probably since you were a little girl, your father, your heritage, your family told you you're the shit.
What's funny?
You're somebody special. I mean, or how did you get this
I think
self-concept?
what happened was like growing up, like I definitely struggled with like image issues. I struggled with I was like really, really chubby growing up, and I'm dark skinned. My mom's light skinned, all my siblings were light. So I was always the only dark person, and then being the only black kid in my class, all this, my name, like all these things, and then being always in these white spaces. So I was very, very, very insecure. My body type, everything. Like
really?
The teacher in like grade 4 was like talking about body types. She's like, okay, and then we have Mekeba, who's more on who's a big frame, who's like you literally are sitting here and singling me out in class and talking about frames and husky and body type, and I was like, Like, so stuff like that happened a lot. My mom would always be like, "Oh, it's okay, don't worry, you'll love your bum when you're older. It looks good in jeans." I had no idea what that meant. She would be like, "You're pretty," but I'm like, "You're my mom. Of course you're saying that. So you have to say that." But it's weird that I actually felt like I had to make like a conscious like sink or swim decision.
When did it click though?
I'd probably say when I was like probably around like grade 8, the 8th grade, at like 13, 14-ish mark. There was a rapper named Trina, okay? Fatback Sister that came out. She was like, shout out to Trina, okay? This is like, because it's like, she was a little bit darker than most performers at the time. Looking back at pictures now, I'm like, oh, she wasn't that dark. But at the time, it's like she was a little darker, she was a little thicker, and she was just like, I'm the baddest bitch. Like, she just came out like owning it all. And she had little neck rolls, kind of, and I had the neck rolls. And I was like, you know what?
I didn't notice that.
I know, but those are things that like people would say things about. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm seeing her little, like she had like this little chubby, like, and I was like, I'm identified with it. I'm glad I didn't go all the way with like being like, but it gave me this sense of like, you know what? Yeah, I'm owning this, and so it kind of started there. It also church did help for me. Like I had like a really good really good youth leaders at the time, and they would always be like, you're meant to be at the head and not at the tail. My church was very prosperity based, so they would also do that. Like they would always telling you, you're made to be at the head and not the tail. You know, you're made for greatness. You're all those things. So after a while, you start to kind of say like, yeah, you know what? And I got tired of not loving myself. Like I literally was like, I'm tired. Like I have to choose something.
Yeah.
Do I just want to keep feeling like this, or do I want to try? Like people are saying this, like you're saying I'm meant to be at the head and not the tail. Maybe if I tell myself that in the mirror. Maybe if I whatever. Like I'm a really firm believer in affirmations.
Did it confuse you so you said 8th grade, right?
8th grade was probably, I think that year was the start of the shift.
Because like, I'm thinking about the age you were, right? So did it confuse you going into puberty when guys start to look at you? Or did it go, well, hold on, I'm the, because you got hip hop, you got Trina, right?
Yeah.
Right? And movies, of course, too. There's tons of movies, Players Club, all that stuff. So shapely girls.
Yeah.
Did it confuse you as you got older? Like, why am I getting all this attention?
I think, because it wasn't like, it didn't feel like it was like, all this attention right away. Like, it was also, I also think sometimes I felt like it was boys being boys.
Okay.
Right? Like, the Wood, they run, stop the girls out. They were doing that stuff at our school too, right? So I was kind of just like thinking like, oh God, this is just like, and that's probably where like being like a patriarchal society or a misogynistic community where you're almost like, that's just what boys do.
That's what they do.
You know what I mean? So I didn't really I didn't put too much, I think, emphasis on that part of it. I really was just more focused on just like feeling certain things for myself at that stage, and that's where like the internal thing came in, and the whole like putting myself on a pedestal. So even with guys, like I was always called like, oh, you're stush, or you're challenging, or you're whatever, because I wasn't like, ooh, all this attention, hi, what are you doing? I kind of started, I was like, no, I have to put myself on a pedestal and separate myself, and not just let everyone, like have a chance or anything like that. So I don't know, I don't feel like there was necessarily confusion. I just felt myself having to make choices.
Okay.
Like really actually being like, you need to make choices. What do you want to do? How do you want to be? And how do I kind of start getting there?
Moving further, fashion. So you went from there to beauty, fashion.
Yeah.
It just
How does
morphed.
that segue? So for me, I was always into doing hair. Like I always loved doing hair, like whether for my dolls to doing my own. And what happened was like, so I started doing it as a hustle, right? It was like, okay, I'm gonna braid hair in the stairwell, I'm gonna do whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like the more I was doing it for other people, especially like women, like you see the way they feel after you're done, and you're like, yo. People come in like with this body language and they leave like this. They're like, okay, see you next time. Like they feel so empowered, and like that's like addictive. Like you're like, yo, I can make people feel like that. So it's like, and within our community, hair, like your style is like your therapist. So it's like you literally feel like you are reaching so many lives. Just from doing that. So I was in university and I was like, you know what, I want to do this like full time. I went and got my license and everything, and I like became a professional hairstylist, and then I started creating women's content after that because of the conversations that you're constantly having in the chair. Talking about, girl, what do you eat? How do you do this? How do I do that? How do I get my hair like this? Da, da, da. I love educating my clients. So it's like, what if I created a platform that was now global, that anybody anywhere could access this information kind of thing. So that's kind of how all those things sort of work.
So how do you start meeting people that kind of put you into a mainstream kind of, listen, you talk to Mekeba because she's really good at what she does, and
It's literally just doing the work and people finding it and just putting myself out there. So whether that's like posting on YouTube, social media, whatever, just literally word of mouth is so powerful. And I really think once you do good work, like you'll always
The product too.
yeah, like it's gonna come. It's gonna come. So
Wow.
are you surprised that it's brought you to different places in the world? And
oh yeah. When I get
It's something as simple as making another woman feel good.
Yeah.
Like you said in the stairwell, from there to now a global stylist and person that does things on magazines and for movies and film shoots and these kind of things. Like,
Yeah, like
did you ever see that happening?
I think I saw I always knew I wanted to not just be the mundane day-to-day, I'm just a hairstylist, cut, go. Like I knew that like the community aspect of it was really important. But when the bigger things came, like I used to see magazines, or I used to see things and be like, I want to do that one day. I want that. You know, you don't always know how, especially when you grow up in certain communities. There's no mentors and paths that are laid out.
Yeah.
But I just always kind of felt like, you know what? Just follow what feels good. Follow the passion. Follow that like desire, and that's literally how those things have happened. Like everything, because I haven't had like this manager or somebody who's been like shopping me out and inserting me into these situations. Like everything that's happened at this point has been from other people just like finding me for things. So
relationships.
I think that's, relationships and just kind of putting it out there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, relationships is a strong word because you seems like a very confident person. Even after all the, I'm just gonna say traumatic. You did mention the word trauma a couple times, but I don't even see it as just that. I feel like just like experiential things. Like you've been through a lot, and just to come out the other side and with this strength, with this confidence, with this like unabashed, this is me and this is what I'm doing.
Right.
And nobody's gonna stop that flow.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's why I say it's a choice. And that's why I'm passionate about people dealing with their trauma, because I think it's hard to make those choices if you don't know you have them.
Right.
You're just kind of like, you'll never really know that you can choose to be confident because everyone's telling you that you're not the shit. And even if they're not saying it, they're showing you in magazines, they're showing you in you know what I mean? They're indirectly saying it. So that's why for me, like even with my platform, like women of color is my passion point. People are like, well, why women of color? Why you want to be so niche? I'm like, because that's my passion point. I know what that feels like to feel like you are shit, like you are not smart, like you are not any of these things. Like I don't want to keep seeing that.
Right. We're a sum of our experiences, and that's what can drive somebody. So when there's a lot of people who are therapists who dealt with trauma.
100%.
Of course, like in what is it called when you're in AA, you're an alcohol, and you're a sponsor, right?
Right.
Because you're helping somebody get through what you got through. So you say, well, shoot, what best person?
Who best to know?
Exactly.
It.
Yeah.
Because there's a level of understanding, like a true understanding.
Yeah, but I see your passion, not that I'm any type of, but I see your passion in a lot of the conversation we had about the diaspora, about us, about our trauma.
So many things.
Coming from a place of.
It's like cathartic.
Yeah.
This whole time to be cathartic. I'm just like sat here like, and I'm never quiet. You actually, I'm never quiet. I'm sorry. It's like, whoa.
It's powerful, man.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier about growing up as a chubby kid. Like, I definitely don't see that, or how that's ever been you. But
I definitely, we can insert picture.
And now, right? Before. And now, I've seen your Instagram, and there you are, like working out and like pretty much being body goals, like hashtag body goals. Like, how did you go from that to that?
Yeah, I didn't see the Instagram.
Oh, you know.
I saw it.
I feel like I didn't play sports when I was younger because I was insecure. So I didn't know that like the fact that my legs were thicker maybe meant that I was fast. I didn't know, like all those things just meant
strength.
It's not that you're just this fat slob. Like no, it's like I may have had power. I had power in me I didn't know. And so I just didn't play sports. I didn't even try. You know those games, they picking you last, like, because I'm a chubby kid. I may have been really fast because like when I got older and I was doing like this like clinic with like this university, we were just doing like drills and tactics. He's like, oh, how much years eligibility you have left? I'm like, all, because I never played. Like, what do you mean? You see something in me? Like, you know, that kind of feeling. But I didn't know that I like, so I never explored that whole like athletic side of myself. But then it's like I got older, I started feeling like, one, I want to be the best version of myself. So how do I do that? Okay, I need to be physically active. Let's experiment with that. Let's try with that. So for me, and two, it really helps with my mental health. Like just working out. And when you're insecure or feeling certain ways about your body, again, a choice comes. What do I do here? Do I just stay unhappy about this thing, or do I do something about it? And so it's like, okay, let me work out. While I'm working out, let me try to have the best body I can have for me. Not saying like, okay, I want this, that, and the other, but I'll never have that. Well, nowadays I guess you can buy it, but like without doing that, essentially, right? So that was where the fitness thing came in for me. It was like, it helps with my mental health, and it's like, yeah, again, like when you're just gonna complain about it, like what is, like it does nothing for you.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. So just do something about it. And I'm not the person who's in the gym who's like, I love being here every day. Like, oh my God, I can do, like, no, it is still a struggle. It's still a struggle, but it's like, you never regret a workout. You never regret one.
No.
So just do it. Just do it. My thing was show up. Just show up.
Yeah.
15 minutes. Even if it's just 15 minutes.
Something to get done.
Just something. And then that way, like, at least I build the habit. I still fall off. Sometimes I'm like even this trip, I haven't really been working out on this trip, right? But it's like, I get back home, it's like, nah, don't give up on yourself. Just keep going. Just don't give up. And that's the only way I can really stay consistent at this
Bring
point.
a jump rope.
Yeah, I have my rope.
Simplest workout.
I'm sure you motivate a lot of people though.
I hope I do, you know, I really do. And that's why like I like sharing, and it's not, and then we were talking about stunting, it's like I don't really like the idea of like I'm not stunting out here, but I like sharing my experiences, because one of my biggest things, and you guys probably know this, is like a lot of people want to wait till they're rich to do things. And I'm like, no. Let me do now and still work on that at the same time. But like, oh, how do you afford to travel, or how do you do that? It's like, it's just, again, a choice. Making it a priority. Saying, I don't need red bottom shoes. I don't need designer clothes. I don't need all this stuff. But I'd rather travel. I'd rather have experiences than to spend money on like that bag. Yeah, in many respects, we're already rich. Yeah. You know? I mean, you know, if you have health and peace of mind. Yeah. I mean, how many wealthy, as far as money people we know that are batshit crazy, right? True. Unhappy. I've tried to channel, you know, not being money motivated, and trying to think about health, like legacy, longevity, what I'm gonna leave people. Someone saying my name before when I die. Someone saying that I changed their life. My eulogy. What are they gonna say? You know what I mean? Like those things are so much more important, you know. And the things that you talk about, this whole interview. There's gonna be people talking about you for years to come. You know what I mean? I take that prophecy. I guarantee you. Yeah, I guarantee you that you are loving on and speaking into people just in what you call work, but it's almost like a ministry. Oh wow! You know, there's gonna be people saying things about you. Really? That's heavy. Deep. Wow. It's super deep. Yeah. No, I take that. That's the reason why I live. You. Yeah.
I'm just playing it simple about like I didn't see this coming at all.
No.
I kind of figured we were gonna talk about a bit of like hair and cute stuff and styling.
I literally think it's just a medium.
And wow, like I didn't see this coming at all.
I do have a question about your profession, ministry, right? Name some people, some notables, influencers that you've worked with.
Influencers that I've worked with? Like, in influencer world, there's like Maya, Shameless Maya, Shannon Boudreaux, but then there's like celebrity, like Winnie Harlow is one of my clients. I've made like a lot of her wigs. I was the one who got her to wear wigs, so her hair being protected. And
Winnie Harlow wears wigs?
Yeah. No, but yeah, so yeah. But I've worked with like Nike, Harper's Bazaar, Swarovski, Dove. A lot of big brands. A lot of big brands, yeah. Yeah. Wow. So yeah. That's deep. It's cool. I mean, you're very accomplished. Thank you. I feel like I have a long way to go, but I'm definitely happy about the way my life has been going. You would do a lot in this region. Sure. Listen, let me tell you, this trip, I'm like, did I just come to Dubai for a year? Yes, you do. Ladies. For a year. Does she need to come for a year?
Yes, you do.
Tell me, I'll come for a year.
Yes, you do.
Or 6 months maybe.
There's definitely a market.
Yeah.
The thing they say is look east. Look east. Everything is moving this side anyway. Yeah, and the smart money.
Smart money. That is so important what you just said. The smart money.
The smart money. And all I can do is big Africa up because it's not just in me. It like this is business. Why do you think China's in Africa?
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're the
That's
only ones that don't want to go
business.
back to invest because they're like, guys,
business.
they see the opportunities.
Right. So the smart money is gonna be like, yo, this is not just about heritage or where I'm from. This is business.
And it's like we're the only ones missing out on
Whatever
this
you're
business.
doing, Akon said this. It's like whatever you do, you can do it better in Africa.
Yes.
The only place in the
Sure
world
do.
right now that people who look like you and me can make a Fortune 500 company in about
In like 5 years. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's
it's
true. I've
fact.
seen it personally.
Yeah. Friends that we know that are killing it right now. Like
I'm working on multi-million-dollar ideas right now in Africa.
Sure is.
I can't wait to be up out of here. Little brothers, we're gonna be over there. Don't worry about it.
Definitely.
yeah. No, I mean, I love that there's a wave. I love that we're connecting. You know, like this is more than a trend. Like this is an awakening.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is how we have to look at it. It's like it's an awakening, not a trend. Let's collectively move together and like move fast. You know, because I think for some people, like, oh, it's cool to be African now, but it wasn't. Because like when I had my name, right, people would be like, ooh, what are you, African? Like they would always say it in a very degrading, negative way. So even though I didn't grow up with
Even
parents,
our own people.
yeah, oh, that's who said it.
Especially.
That's who said it, right? It's our own people who be like, ew, are you African? So I grew up feeling.
We like super black.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And it's always something negative about that, right? Being that dark. So that's that. So I grew up feeling like exactly how a lot of people who grew up, who were either born in Africa, who had African parents, felt. Because I'm like, yo, it wasn't cool. Everyone was made me. I was in that boat right with y'all. Because no one, like everyone heard my name and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know. So there's an awakening happening. This conversation happening right now. The fact that it's even happened today.
Yeah. Is that amazing?
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been for the last while. I just feel like I've made some choices in the last 6 months that have just like I said, after changed the trajectory of my life, and this keeps happening.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be massive.
Yeah. This here is a moment.
It is.
And because we're in it, you know, remember Maya Angelou said, I'm the hopes and the dreams of the slave, right?
Ooh.
Right?
Evoking Mama Maya.
Yeah. And,
Yes. Preach.
and the reason why I say that is because almost every day, and it used to be every day, but almost every day
Still
I think,
I rise.
yes.
Still I rise.
And, well, I'll give you the whole last 2 bars. Giving the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the hopes and the dreams of the slave.
Yeah.
If you think about us, or you think about Barack, or you think about anybody, you think about Chantel Riley, right? On Broadway. Wasn't allowed on Broadway years ago, right?
Really?
But if you think about the slave,
Except for like the dude shucking and jiving.
Yeah.
well, no,
yeah,
those, some of those guys were white with black
White,
voice.
blackface, yeah.
Even, yeah.
But if you go way back to 17 whatever or 16 whatever, 16, 19, right? You go back, they couldn't fathom you or us.
Yeah.
They couldn't fathom this.
That's why they say we're ancestors' wildest dreams. Right?
Wildest dreams.
I also think we're a secret
Definitely.
weapon.
Ooh.
I say we're a secret weapon because
Say more about that.
we were brought here as cattle. They're like, we're gonna build and they're gonna die off. There's no way those people are gonna survive.
Right.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, us of the African diaspora, we came and learned their ways. We came and went to their school, like all this stuff. So it's like now, if we just connect, we're a secret
Unstoppable.
weapon. You didn't realize what you just did.
Yeah.
Because we kept, no matter what, we kept coming against the odds, right?
Yeah.
Still being educated, still being millionaires, still building, still doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And now when we take that stuff back, it's a wrap. We're a secret weapon. They didn't know.
That's all that we're missing when we take it back.
Each other. We're missing each other. We are the missing link in each other's progress. Like,
Amazing.
yeah.
Wow.
So brilliant talking to you and having you on Global Brothers Podcast.
Amazing.
Thank you for
so
having me.
much for your insight.
Yes.
It is a breath of fresh air.
It is.
Thanks.
A breath of fresh air. to hear
I'm definitely
someone-
enlightened. I like hearing things like that come out of other people's mouths. I mean, we talk a
Yeah.
lot, we hear it on TV, but we just want so many more people
You think we're
to
the
think that
conspiracy theories
way.
and everyone else is like,
No.
Oh, you guys always think, yeah.
It's kind of like other universes, like, oh,
Yeah.
things get over here on the plantation. Man.
Yeah.
We're
No,
like, no, leave the plantation, come join us.
Right.
I hear you.
Well,
man.
their ice isn't colder than ours, and we got to stop thinking that.
Yeah.
Their ice is so much colder. You know.
Oh man, ice. Even that topic of the whole immigration thing going on right now. You know what?
That's another.
That's a whole nother joy.
Ooh, because that whole immigration situation in general, when it comes to white people, really upsets me. Y'all went everywhere as illegal aliens.
Exactly.
As terrorists, actually.
Terrorists.
And then said, by the
Conquerors.
way, we created passports and papers and documents.
So Makeba, we've had so much fun having you here on Global Brothers
Thank you.
Podcast.
Thank you
Your
for having
presence
me.
has been a present.
Yes.
We've learned so much and been enlightened by your spirit.
Thank
Thanks.
And
You
like
blew
we
us
always-
away.
Completely blew us away.
Thank you, guys.
And like we always say, live global and prosper.
Peace.
Amen.
Mr. Worldwide.
Hey, little known fact, found out the other day, I was in a random bank in Mall of Emirates, and I met a guy named Brother. I'm like looking at him, I'm like, family, what's up, man? He's like, hey, what's up, man? I'm like, let me guess, Kofi, right? He's like, Kwabena or something like that, yeah, which means he was born on such and such a day. And he's like, and then he thought that I said my name was Kofi. I said, let me guess, it's Kofi. So he's like, oh, hey, Kofi.
Oh wow.
So he's like, so Friday, huh?
The
And
connection.
I'm like,
You're like, oh.
okay, so I went along with it for a while. Then he kept calling me Kofi. I'm like, all right, I guess my name's Kofi.
Did you look up what day of the week you were born?
So then I called my mom, like, Mom, what day of the week was I born? I never even thought about it.
See? Yeah.
That's so crazy about having that mentality. We don't even think about the depth of what a name can mean.
Or
Yeah.
the time, or anything. Like,
And in Africa, that's such a special
your
thing
name is
for
so
them.
important.
Yes.
love
So
it.
figured I was born on Saturday. My Ghanaian name is Kwame.
Oh. Wow. I gotta check and see where I was, what day I was born. I don't know.
Happy now. I was like, wow.